it. Let me just click it again. No?
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, no, I'm seeing it.
I see 3 people on though.
So you want to go live, you want to start it?
We just started.
Okay.
Okay.
You
Sure.
good?
Okay. Sorry about that. Hey, everybody. We had a quick technical glitch. How you doing? My name is Chris Roglieri, President and CEO of Commercial Capital Training Group, and in an effort to bring you valuable content to help inform you in case you're interested in this opportunity, what we're going to do is we're in the middle of a live training right now this week. It's still virtual this month. We have a lender on just waiting for me. We have about 20 people virtually all over the country. And so to give you a quick sneak peek about what you would encounter if you did invest with us to own your own commercial finance company, I'm going to take you into the conference room and start a lender call right now that's going to present to the 20 people that are here this week all over the country. So we're going to do that. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you already downloaded the app, so you're halfway there anyway. So why don't you follow me? And today is one of the products our graduates are learning today is SBA lending. And so we have one of our lenders, which is Wells Fargo, is going to present to our graduates today. So why don't you follow me, and we're going to kick this off.
Bye, Joe.
All right, Chris is here. I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Mac. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, Chris, what's happening? I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good, good, good. Everything's good.
Wonderful. Good to hear.
All right. Okay. So let me, are we good to go with the presentation? I guess we could see your presentation. Yeah. Did Mac set you up
I think
okay?
so. Can you see it okay?
We can. We can.
Okay, great.
All right, great. All right. So can everybody hear me okay? Graduates, can you just give me a yes? Okay. All right. All right. Well, grads, this is Joe from Wells Fargo. I know I gave Wells Fargo a warm-up before we got on the call about who they are, but they're one of our valued partners. They've been with us for, gosh, almost 9-10 years now, working with our graduates, and they do a great job in servicing our graduates. And with that being said, Joe, I'm going to turn it over to you. We have 21 people from all around the country eagerly waiting for your presentation, so I will turn it over to you.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you very much. And hello to the 21 folks out there listening. Thank you. You know, number one, thanks for your time. And this is I tell every group. I've been doing this for, as Chris said, gosh, it's got to be 9 years, and this is always a highlight of my month. You know, I think CTCG is completely unique in terms of its offering and the education that it can provide. I don't think there's anything like this in the country that I've ever seen or heard of. These guys have had a really, really good idea, and they're extremely knowledgeable about our, you know, sort of the lending industry, if you will, as a whole. And to be involved in this training is a highlight of my month, as I said. And you know, that's one thing, but the other thing is in the real world. You know, I have so many success stories with CTCG graduates because as they come out of the class, they're armed with so much knowledge and education and, you know, tips and tricks and the right people to go to that you know, their success is, you know, a lot of times almost immediate. And, you know, personally, I've had now countless, I can't even count how many CTCG grads I've worked with on great loan projects and have closed dozens and dozens. And, you know, I guess the main point, and this may sound crass, but the main point is to be able to put, you know, good loans into good people's hands and make people's dreams come true. But at the same time, put food on the table for the CTCG grads and for us here at Wells Fargo. So it's a great part of the month. I really enjoy doing this training, and I also can't wait, once the dust settles and everybody's back sort of in front of their computers and they get you'll get this deck that we're looking at, this PowerPoint deck, and a couple other marketing things, but I also really enjoy, meeting all of you as well, over the phone, et cetera. So please, after the class, do call, email, introduce yourself, and let's get a dialogue going. So just a tiny bit about me, before we really get into the slideshow, but gosh, I've been in this industry now since 1999. So almost 22 years, I guess it would be. From 99 to that 08, 09 range, I was at GE Capital, and at that point, GE Capital was the largest non-bank lender in the world. We were a machine, and what an amazing way for me personally to break into the industry. The training that I was provided, the lending products that I was provided, and back then I was doing exactly what I do now. I was calling on the same exact market that I call on now, which is small business owners. So that's always been a consistent theme in my career, has been the small business side of things. And unbelievable, start to the career, good, about a 10-year run there. And you'll see that 07, 08, 09 range is where we ran into the previous crisis that we had to deal with prior to this crisis that we're sort of coming out of now. And that was the sort of housing, home mortgage driven crisis, subprime way back then. Well, unfortunately, during that, I guess what Warren Buffett says, we know who is swimming in their underwear when the tide goes out. Well, the tide went out, and GE Capital, unfortunately, was swimming in their underwear. The model that they had to lend money and stuff like that was really dependent on the capital markets, et cetera. And unfortunately, my business unit got cut, was one of the first ones to get cut right away. And now fast forward here to 2021, I think it was last week or the week before, GE Capital finally sold off GE finally sold off their last big GE Capital unit, which was the aircraft leasing, and that's it. GE Capital is officially a dinosaur. It's extinct. So, interesting to see what happened from back then when I was there, and our little business unit, our small business unit got cut right away to now. So luckily I was able to land on my feet very quickly, even in that crazy time. I went to HSBC Bank. HSBC is a very large international bank. And at that point, I was hired because of my 10 years of experience at GE as a middle market commercial banking relationship manager. So, I had been a lender for GE, a very, looking back on it, a very transactional lender. GE wasn't a bank. So all I was doing back at GE was finding good customers that had a specific project that they needed done right then. And I'd say, hey, I'll come in, I'll finance that project, I'll do it faster, cheaper, better than your local bank, and then I'll be out of your hair. I'll do this one project for you, and then, you can still enjoy the relationship that you built with that local bank. We're not going to ask for anything more. So that's what I call transactional lending. And that's what I was really good at that point, because GE had trained me to be good at that. So I got to HSBC, and the first day they said, okay, here is your 25 customers. And I'm thinking to myself, what does this mean? 25 customers? At GE, I had to go find my own customers. Finance their building or their equipment and then go and find the next one. Well, no, the banking relationship model is you are the relationship manager for these, you know, in this case, 25 middle market companies. Middle market is, you know, maybe 50 million in top line revenue and above. So pretty big companies. You're their banking relationship manager, and you are, you know, everything to them in terms of their financing. If, you know, if they need a credit card, if they need a line of credit, if they need, you know, help opening bank accounts, and all that stuff is what a banking relationship manager does. And a lot of, you know, analytical stuff as well. You know, you're doing, you know, covenant checks and loan reviews and annual reviews, quarterly reviews, all this other stuff. So, interesting, very interesting. And very quickly, I also figured out this is why at GE, being that transactional lender where all I had to do, you know, from 9 to 5 was process loans and get proposals to people and really just focus on that one project that they're doing. This is why I can run circles around the other banks, because these other bankers lending money, when you're a banking relationship manager and you're managing the entire lending money is 10% of what you do. The other 90% is everything else that customer needs as your relationship manager. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is why I could get a proposal out in one day and win a deal at GE, where, you know, at HSBC being a relationship manager, it's much more complicated than that. So anyway, long story short, during the same crisis of the 08s, 09s, Wachovia is starting to fail, Wachovia Bank. And we, you know, that was going to be a disaster after a couple of the bank failures that had already happened. If that happened, they were a big bank, pretty big bank at that point. Could have been disastrous to the financial system. So the U.S. government goes to Wells Fargo and says, hey, Wells Fargo, you guys are amazingly strong. You didn't even do any of the subprime stuff. You're like the strongest bank right now because you never really got into that stuff. And you've always wanted to be on the East Coast. You've only been in the Midwest and the West Coast. And Wachovia is just an East Coast bank. We're going to broker the deal. You got to buy Wachovia because you got to save. We have to save them because they can't go. Bit about Wells Fargo. I'd never even thought about Wells Fargo. You know, in my GE days, they were a West Coast bank. Well, we're starting to figure out quickly that they do things differently at Wells Fargo, especially in the small business world. The one thing that we all started to figure out here on the East Coast was their SBA, their Small Business Administration lending, is completely different. They're number one in the country. They do more volume than, you know, 2, 3, 4 combined. And we figured out the reason they were doing that is because they had broken the SBA product from the rest of the bank. In other words, a couple of really smart guys at Wells Fargo years ago, 20 years ago or so, maybe more than that. I think that was the late 90s as well. Probably when I started at GE is when these two smart guys at Wells Fargo in the late 90s said, hey, you know what, to the brass of Wells Fargo, you know what, this SBA product is amazing for our customers and it's amazing for the bank. This product deserves more love than it's getting, love and attention than it's getting, because, you know, as just one of 10 products that our general relationship manager bankers can offer, they sometimes forget about SBA. We could go a year without a relationship manager even doing an SBA loan. But if we break the SBA out from the rest of the bank and make it its own business unit, we will have major focus on this SBA product, because all of our bankers will be SBA bankers, all of our underwriters and closers will be SBA underwriters and closers, and we think that that model will be dynamic, okay? And, you know, fast forward 10 years into that, it was dynamic. They were already the number one SBA lender in the country by that point. So now Wells Fargo's on the East Coast, and they're looking for East Coast people that have that transactional lending experience like I had at GE to be their SBA bankers. And luckily I was picked, you know, and recruited to do this, and that's, you know, now about 10 years ago as well. So I've been doing this for Wells Fargo for 10 years. And what it did was it got me back to my roots of transactional lending. This is a really, really cool dynamic part of a very big bank where, of course, yes, at Wells Fargo, you have those relationship managers that I was at HSBC, which is the person that Here's your list of companies. Take good care of them. You have to do everything for them. If they need a bank account open, you got to open the bank account, etc. They have that at Wells Fargo, of course. But what they did with this SBA unit was they said, hey, SBA bankers, all you have to do is all day look for SBA loans. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. You don't have to open accounts or manage relationships. You are a transactional lender working for Wells Fargo, trying to find good borrowers out there that need SBA loans. And I was hired because of my GE experience as the one externally facing SBA lender in the country, which is why I'm part of CTCG and talking to you today, because most of the SBA bankers across the country at Wells Fargo support their internal teams. So you'd have one SBA banker supporting 6 or 8 or 10 of those relationship bankers at Wells Fargo, and the relationship bankers manage the relationship once in a while, or not even, probably more than once in a while. It could be a few times a week or a month. In their portfolio, their managed portfolio, they're finding customers that are buying a building or buying a business or buying equipment. Now that Wells Fargo relationship manager picks up the phone, calls the SBA expert at Wells Fargo in their region and says, hey, SBA guy, I got a great, one of my relationships is buying a building. I need you. Well, that's not my role. I'm the only SBA banker in the country that doesn't report to or affiliated or is affiliated with an internal Wells Fargo team. What my job was 10 years ago, they said, Joe, we need somebody to spread the word externally. We need someone talking to real estate brokers, business brokers, loan brokers, folks like you all on the phone that are the people that are sort of sourcing loans and finding people that need money. We need a person like that in SBA to service that whole market, and that's me. So that's why I'm talking to you today, and we'll get into what makes Wells Fargo different. But it's been a wonderful 10-year run, and a lot of my personal success is due to CTCG graduates, because you all are so well educated after this course that you have a marketing plan and you know where to place loans so quickly. And I've become a great resource for the CTCG grads, which is wonderful for everybody.
And Joe, I think that's that's important to note, that since one of the advantages of coming through here is they get to work with people like yourself, where you're the only one in the country that's not tied to a branch, and that equates that equates to speed and execution to get deals done. Because if you were to try to miraculously do this on your own, just your little part, and find you have a deal and you want to try to find the nearest SBA BDO to that deal, it'd be a very cumbersome process where you don't have that problem. That's you work with all of our folks, and you can do deals anywhere in the country without without the branch slowdown or without the geography restrictions.
That's exactly right. And I get special pricing and things like that because I am the only external facing SBA banker in the country. So this is nothing that you can really find at a local level, and that's why I was set up to do what I've been doing, which is sort of that national, externally facing presence. So yeah, great point, Chris. Yep.
All right.
So so slide 2. I try to get this slide out there early because SBA, is kind of confusing in the fact that right within the title of the department, this is obviously SBA is a department within the federal government, right? It's the U.S. Small Business Administration, but the word "small" is in the title. It's like, okay, well, what is small? What does that mean? Well, what's a small business? Well, interestingly enough, and again, this is why I like to get it out there early. A small business definition is pretty darn